Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, so many questions about the case of Cole Allen. Of course, he's charged with multiple counts, including the attempted assassination against the president. And after this new chilling footage that was released tonight, there will be, I'm sure, many more charges. By the way, his defense team came out today. You can't believe this. This is the guy, of course, who tried to kill President Trump and all those other people. Many of them, I think he would have done had he gotten into the ballroom of the Washington Hilton Hotel. Same place as Ronald Reagan, remember, had that attempted assassination against him in 1981. Well, his defense attorneys, get this. I couldn't believe this. The defense attorneys said, you know what? He should be taken care of because, quote, he went to church. He used a shotgun, which is not the typical weapon for mass shooters. They actually use that as an excuse. And also said he has no priors. Like he's just a nice, sweet, misunderstood young man. If you see the footage, and you see also the picture of him, the selfie that he took in the hotel room right before he went down and tried to kill the president, allegedly. Well, I don't think you look at like a sweet little choir boy. And this guy should never see the light of day. And Sandra, we're going to get to your call in a moment, but I first want to play. One of the very powerful details we learned tonight was that the Secret Service agent who was shot in the vest, thank goodness he's okay. I mean, you take a point blank range, very close shot like that, that could be obviously deadly. Luckily, he had a vest on, but we were unsure, was it friendly fire, by accident, all the crossfire with all the guns they're chasing after the guy, or was it the actual attacker? And if you look at the footage, it looks clearly like it's the attacker who shoots the Secret Service agent right up close. He's got a shotgun. That is obviously really terrifying. And then the Secret Service agent looks like he fired off a whole bunch of shots still against the guy. So that guy really is a hero that he was still continuing to fire after he had been shot, luckily, again, in the vest. But here is U.S. Secret Service Director Sean Curran earlier describing exactly that it was not friendly fire, that the shot that the agent took in was definitely from this crazed attacker, 31-year-old Cole Allen.
All the evidence that I've seen, the suspect shot our officer point blank range with a shotgun. Our officer heroically returned fire while being shot point blank range in the chest with a shotgun. It was able to get off 5 shots. It's great training. The officer just acted heroically. Great job.
So the one officer that returned fire is the same officer that was shot by the suspect.
That's correct.
That is a hero. Think about that. 5 rounds after being shot. Even though he had a bulletproof vest on, that's still a lot of force. That is amazing. But yet, if you look at the footage, you see the guy kind of lurking behind the door, waiting for the opportune moment where the little doggy turns around and the handler kind of pulls him away, and they're dismantling one of the magnetometers. So they're down on the ground, busy, a little distracted. You know, the president's inside the room. Everybody's inside the room. So they're thinking, okay, let's start packing up. We don't have to check anything, or no one's coming late. They don't anticipate some crazy person running through the magnetometer suddenly. And the guy, in my mind, in his manifesto, he talks about how the security was really lax. That was the other thing. He even writes to his family, I'm surprised how lax the security is. So my thought is that he came downstairs and was even surprised there even was a magnetometer. Maybe he thought there was one and maybe it would have been totally dismantled by now, or that maybe there never even was a magnetometer because he didn't see anything else in the hotel. And maybe he thought, okay, getting even into the ballroom is going to be easy peasy like the rest of the place. Obviously, that's wrong because you're certainly going to have some checks, but they should have, I believe, had more checks. I think many of you will agree with this. But I think when he came down and he saw suddenly all these, Secret Service agents, and now he's committed at this point because he already fired off his manifesto to his brother and sister saying, sorry, I'm about to go down in a hail of bullets. Sorry I did this, but here's why I did it. And I think he was already at that point. I got to do something. What do I do? Oh, they're good. They're dismantling the thing. Now's my time to run. The president's there. He might not be there long. I got to hurry up. Let me a change of course of action, but let's go for it now. The doggy's turned. All these different things. It was sort of this moment. And all I got to say is America, and obviously President Trump, that we're lucky that this guy was an amateur, and not so much of an amateur, but he clearly wasn't like a foreign terrorist. What if there were multiple people rushing the magnetometer at the same time? What if they had a suicide vest? What if they had a grenade? I mean, there are a million things that could have absolutely gone horribly, horribly wrong. What if he parked the car in the garage underneath, just like the 1993 World Trade Center bomber? When that guy rented a car, remember, and he left it and parked it, and he just missed it by a few feet. Had he hit the right spot, there would have been enormous damage to that building. There were deaths and there was damage, but it could have been so much worse. So what if that had happened on that night? There are so many things, and that's why I actually find it a little astounding. You guys know how much I love law enforcement. We do our Back the Blue every night here on the show. But for the head of Secret Service, Sean Curran, to go out today and say, I wouldn't have done anything differently. Everything was perfect. I'm not so sure about that one, but here he is.
All right, and he got off 5 rounds. And I'd love for you, we appreciate you being with us here today. You know this. There's been a lot of questions and criticism around the Secret Service in the wake of this assassination attempt. I'd love for you to address some of that with us here today. There are people we have seen say, how does he shoot 5 times and never hit the suspect?
That's a great question. And you're right. There are a lot of critics out there. Quite frankly, some of them are our former agents that when they did the job, they weren't in the game. If you want to know stuff about the Secret Service, please ask me. I've actually done the job. But I will tell you, that officer, while being shot, was in the process of falling down and was returning gunfire. To be shot at is not a pleasant thing, and to be able to actually return fire and that rate of speed is just remarkable.
But the suspect was never hit, correct? He was correct. Never hit by a bullet.
That is correct. The suspect was not hit.
Breaking news.
And this just in, President Trump has signed the bill to keep the government back operating. Thank goodness, ending the partial government shutdown, the biggest one in American history. It was going 76 days. This does not include funding for ICE and also for Customs and Border Protection. But the president has officially signed the rest of Homeland Security to continue. After all this time, the Democrats got nothing, just angry Americans waiting and long TSA lines and other things. Luckily, now TSA will be funded. CISA is going to be funded. The Coast Guard, Secret Service, as we're talking about, will be funded. And at least the government will be able to function. And then the plan is to have Customs and Border Protection and also ICE funded, and a bill on the president's desk on that by June 1st. But in the meantime, things go back to business, and that's great news for America. Let's go back to your calls, guys. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey. Sandra, go ahead. You're here on the Rita Cosby Show.
I know I'm on the Rita Cosby Show.
I know, but I'm telling everybody else, Sandra, because we have new listeners, and you know that.
You're right.
And you're my friend, Sandra, so we love having you on, Sandra. You're one of our favorites, my friend. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rita.
In case you were confused, you know?
Rita, I wanted to say that I was at the French Embassy last week, in Washington. It was like night and day, the security. Do you know I almost had to be completely undressed to get through? And you know how strict they were there?
So wait. Sandra, was the guy cute who asked you to undress?
No, there were a lot of people there. No, but they were so strict, I'm trying to say. Now, what I saw in that footage, guards standing against the wall, I mean, and they're putting the equipment away, and the evening is just beginning. I don't get all that. So to me, like I said before,
yeah, talk about the little doggy, and let's talk about the little doggy, Sandra, because you got the guard, the Secret Service guy who has the dog, and I wonder, by the way, I was really happy to see that there was a dog because I hadn't seen a dog before, and you know, all I kept thinking was he should have unleashed the dog on him. That's when he should have let go of the dog when the guy was running by.
The dog went towards him, and that was great. And I was also happy to finally see a dog because we said yesterday we wish there were some.
Exactly.
So there, right. So tonight we did see one, and the dog did the right thing. He went right towards this person, and then you see the guard talking to this person, and then the guard and the dog walk away. I don't get that, Rita. And then he plunged out, and that's when all the damage started. I don't get it. I would like that guard. We should bring him to the radio, to television, to find out what was he thinking when he walked away? What was his thought? Well, how did that person interact with him? What was he saying? That guy looks like a little bit of a charmer because if you see him in other scenarios, he's very friendly. He's talking to someone behind a desk. He's like acting like, oh, I belong here. I'm perfectly fine and safe. So he's fooling a lot of people, and he probably fooled that guard for a moment also with the dog. That's what I think. And then the guard thing, yeah, he's an okay guy. He looks normal. He looks okay. And he walks away, and he fooled him. That's what I think.
No, I think there's something, and you're right. It's interesting because I've seen some people who said that the dog looked like he was following a scent, and then he pulls him away and starts talking to the dog. But I saw what you saw, that it looks like he's kind of talking to the guy. And like you said, that maybe there was some sort of interaction where the guy was like, oh, sorry. Oh, there's an event here. Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
How nice. Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's an event. Oh, okay.
Right.
Thank you. I'll go to the other room. And then the guy turns around and then he's like, okay, I got to make a beeline for it.
That's what I think.
And I also think, Sandra, did you hear what I was saying too? That I also think the way the guy was writing about the lack of security in the room, that he in the building, in the whole hotel, and there was, it seems like a very lack of security. And I think he did not anticipate being confronted. Even maybe he was so naive to think that even as you get closer to the ballroom, there won't be magnetometers. Maybe he just thought, oh, this is one of these events, and he's never been to a presidential event. So maybe he had no clue that there would actually be any sort of magnetometers. Maybe he thought when he came down that like, oh, it's going to be open piece of cake. Maybe there'll be agents inside, but outside there won't be anything. Or maybe by now everything will be, broken down and no big deal. And then I think he got there, and maybe when he opened the door and the doggy saw him and the guy sort of saw him, it looks like that maybe he thought, oh, okay, they sort of see me. They look like they're going to be here for a little while. I just got to find and he's committed at this point. He doesn't know how long the president's going to be there. Maybe he thought the president's going to be there like 15, 20 minutes. And in his mind, he's like, I'm committed. I got to go for it. It's now or never. And he just decided to storm as opposed to backing away when he saw security suddenly. But I think you're hitting a very powerful point. That guard should be questioned. And also,
definitely.
And I still don't like the guy. I realize things happen in the heat of the moment, but that guy, the other one who he storms past, the guy who backs away when he's running, I'm sorry.
Right.
I hate to say it. It's a hard thing to say, but they are not trained to back away. They're trained to jump in front of. And at that moment, just like the courageous guy who got on the stage, who stood in front of President Trump and was willing to take a bullet. And I'm telling you, these people are heroes. It's a very tough thing. But maybe he should have stood in front of, when he saw somebody running, got in his way or tripped him or tried to do something as opposed to getting out of the way. Your natural instinct is to move away. But if you're in Secret Service or law enforcement, that's not what you're supposed to do.
They all seem to be moving the opposite direction. Why were they going back through the door where that killer came from? I didn't get that either. But I'll tell you something, Rita. Carrie Lake was there, and she was so blunt. And she said she's been to so many events like this, and she never in her life saw such poor security like that night. She said that.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, I've been to that exact event many times, Sandra. And I don't remember it being really intense security other times, too. I mean, they'll look a lot of, they knew who I was. So it was like, hi, Rita, some of the Secret Service guys. But there are a lot of people who they didn't know they were. And if they dressed the part or whatever, they were walking in, So I don't know if it was any different than what has been other nights at that particular event. And I think it's a huge wake-up call. Just because when you look at this, how could you ever have the president at a hotel? I mean, it makes perfect sense. It is only for the luck of God, I'm telling you, that this president is still alive, between Butler and between what happened with Ryan Ruth at the golf course and then this guy. Thank God these guys were not professionals. That's all I've got to say, Sandra. Thank goodness. And I say it was sort of amateur hour, even though he was very calculated, premeditated. He dressed the part. He was a smart guy. There's no doubt about it. And that's what's scary. But imagine had it been other individuals, or had he been really loaded with explosives or something like that, or drove a car to the underneath garage or things like that. I also heard people talk about that as well. So it could have been, absolutely catastrophic. And that's why it really needs to be evaluated honestly. Just as Carrie Lake and others have been saying. Sandra, thank you very much. We'll get to the bottom of that little doggy and what was going on there. 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show. We'll continue after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to Thomas in New Jersey on line 5. Thomas, your thoughts tonight about all of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rita, I don't know if there's time. I wanted to send Stan a message that the left-wing kook that thinks Trump brought on his own security problems. Rita, Stan should go to therapy with James Carville for the Trump derangement syndrome. Trump is the best friend the Jews have ever had since, Moses, Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham and David. Where does Stan get off saying Trump brings it on? He's really a twisted guy, and he's obnoxious.
But the problem is, Thomas, and you know this, Tom, there are millions of Stan across the country. That's the problem. And listen, Stan seems like he's a veteran, so I actually always appreciate, hearing his thoughts like I appreciate hearing from everybody else. But on the other hand, you're right. He totally has Trump derangement syndrome. There is absolutely no doubt about it. TDS personified. Trump, that's what Stan says. Trump, 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 Trump.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
And some new chilling footage coming out tonight showing Cole Allen as he was casing the hotel the night before and the night of the attempted attack against President Trump at that Washington dinner with all the journalists and so many of the members of the cabinet. By the way, I was seeing that it's 5 of the 6 people in the order of succession for the presidency were essentially in that room. That's another big thing. You can't have that many people that are leading the United States of America essentially in one room. It's sad to think about that, but in this day and age, you got to play it safe. Here is President Trump, because President Trump was asked a little bit ago, how does it affect you? And he said, yeah, it definitely affects me. It's definitely emotional, but I have to forge ahead. And then he was asked, what about wearing a bulletproof vest? Because there's some people are suggesting maybe from here on out, he should wear a bulletproof vest to stay safe. And this is what he had to say.
Is there talks about you potentially wearing a bulletproof vest moving forward, given you have now been shot at?
I don't know if I can handle looking 20 pounds heavier. These guys, they look so good. Some of these guys are physical specimens. Some of these guys are trouble. I say, get him away from me. I don't want to be near him. If you want to gain 20 to 25 pounds, get a vest. And frankly, the vest did an amazing job because it took a bullet close up. And he didn't even want to go to the hospital. I mean, we sent him to the hospital just in case, but he didn't want, still a hit. But he didn't want to go to the hospital. The vest totally protected him. Still a lot of power behind that shot, though. That's like getting hit by Mike Tyson. But it's amazing. I've been asked about that, and I guess it's something you consider. In one way, you don't like to do it because you're giving into a bad element, and so I don't know. But I have been asked about it.
It's amazing. President Trump, he just says what he's thinking. And you can also hear that he obviously understands why people are asking him this question after yet another attempted assassination. And yet he also says, no, I'm going to live my life. There is nobody as courageous as President Trump, truly. I mean, that guy who was going fight right after Butler is still fighting every single day. I mean, it's extraordinary, his courage. And speaking of bad jokes, this is Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, now the FCC is investigating ABC. They're investigating them for diversity, equity, and inclusion issues. Not saying publicly whether or not the Jimmy Kimmel stuff is on the table, but President Trump is saying Jimmy Kimmel should be fired. And for some reason, Jimmy Kimmel can't bring himself to say, I am sorry. I had terrible jokes. It's in poor taste. Maybe I'm inciting people along with other Democrats who seem to have Trump derangement syndrome. Because here's what he had to say in his non-apology. Listen to this.
You know how sometimes you wake up in the morning and the first lady puts out a statement demanding you be fired from your job? We've all been there, right? You've been there, right, Guillermo?
Yeah, sure.
What a day. As you know, they had to cancel the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington on Saturday night after a man with multiple guns and knives crashed the party and may have shot a Secret Service officer. Fortunately, the guy was wearing a bulletproof vest and is okay. They're not sure exactly what happened, but they got the guy. He was charged today. No one was hurt, thank goodness. A lot of people were shaken up on a night that is supposed to be lighthearted. The White House Correspondents' Dinner, if you don't know, it used to be an annual event before Trump showed up. But every year they'd have a comedian roast the room. The president, the vice president, members of the press, everybody got roasted. I did it once. I hosted it. It was a lot of fun. But this year they said, no comedian. We're bringing in a mentalist instead. So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm. And a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not by any stretch of the definition a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence.
I mean, come on. That is preposterous. It doesn't take much to say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't say that, and we all have to tone down. No, the Democrats are absolutely stepping it up, and it's shocking. They won't even give President Trump any credit for the war in Iran. And listen to Senator Blumenthal. This is the guy, remember, with all the stolen valor claims, saying he was in Vietnam, but he wasn't in Vietnam in Connecticut. And here he is talking to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, today, who's testifying. And Pete would have none of it because Senator Blumenthal was essentially saying, you're not winning the war. And Pete Hegseth went crazy. Listen to this.
One point is irrefutable, which is America never succeeds in war unless the American people are behind it. And if what you're seeing as success now is winning, I would hate to see what losing looks like, because none of the shifting and contradictory objectives of the war so far have been achieved. Likewise, let me ask you, yesterday, the president said that Ukraine has been, quote, militarily defeated. I assume you don't agree with that assessment.
The negative nature in which you characterize the incredible and historic effort in Iran is part of the reason, Senator, why the American people view it the way they do. It's why I looked out at our press corps at the Pentagon and called them the Pharisees in the press. It's because they look for every problem.
Well, I'm asking you about
look for
Ukraine.
every problem that exists,
Ukraine
and
has been militarily defeated.
You missed the
I would
plank.
submit, based on my 9 trips to Ukraine, that is a false narrative that the president's buying.
We are 2 months into a historic military success in Iran, and you want to call it a defeat. And it's defeatist Democrats like you that cloud the mind of the American people and would otherwise fully support preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon.
That's an amazing exchange. I'd hate to see what losing looks like. Losing looks like Biden pulling out of Afghanistan. That's what losing looks like, not by our troops, but by Joe Biden. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Larry in Brooklyn on line 2. Larry, your thoughts tonight?
Oh, hello, Rita?
Yep. Hello, Larry. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to say is this. I waited a long time. You know, I know this is going to be somewhat controversial, but I think that there is a lack of enthusiasm. The problem with the Secret Services is a lack of enthusiasm to defend this president, because unlike some other presidents, such as Obama and Clinton probably too, he has not taken any steps to intimidate or go after his enemies using the CIA, such as Obama did. I'm not suggesting that, you know what the ultimate is. I'm not suggesting that anybody do anything like that, because there's a lot of things you could do short of that. But the fact is that Obama did take out certain people. There was a comedian that ended up dead that was making fun of him.
Wait, Larry. No, Larry, I'm not going to let you go. What are you talking about? What are you smoking tonight? I mean, are you saying that what Obama wanted some comedian dead and then he ended up dead? I mean, that's bizarre. And what you're saying, because what you claim they had nefarious means and Trump isn't tough enough on his enemies. I mean, Larry, this is a weird one tonight, but go ahead. I'm trying to make sense of you. You're looking at like a Rorschach test, and it's like spots all over the place. Go ahead.
The night before, Andrew Breitbart was going to show a video of Obama at a certain protest at Harvard University. He was killed, and his coroner was killed, who took photos of the mysterious ring on his forehead that could have been caused by a CIA heart attack gun. Look, there's a lot of things
Larry, hang on. I knew Andrew Breitbart, okay? So I knew actually Andrew very well, all right? And that's sort of a new one, all right? I mean, there were a lot of people who were not happy with him because he was exposing a lot of things, so he probably did have a lot of enemies, to your point. But I think the fact that I think he had a heart attack, if I recall. I mean, come on, Larry.
At 42 years
Larry,
old.
are you 42 years old? Nobody ever has a heart attack? You never heard of that?
It's rare.
It is rare, but it can happen, Larry. I'm glad you're a doctor on top of a political analyst.
Well, look, the fact everybody knows Obama was, there were a lot of people that Obama purportedly socialized with that were of the gay persuasion that ended up dead, a few of them. They thought he was involved with that. Look, the list goes on.
Yeah, but
Trump
you don't know that,
anything.
Larry. I mean, Larry, you don't know that. Let's talk about what you do know, okay? What you do know is that Obama was very weak with enemies publicly. How's that? I mean, I agree there were some nefarious, I'm not saying by any means the deaths. I'm talking about like the surreptitious, getting the phone records like we heard during the Biden administration and a whole bunch of other stuff that was very questionable. And the appeasing, I think, publicly of enemies. I mean, on the surface, he was like putty. He's the guy who sent the $1.7 billion of cash over there to Iran. So what, you think that because Trump is straight up or something? The Secret Service really does like Trump. I'll tell you that, Larry. I mean, he is beloved in law enforcement, and the Secret Service really like him because they like somebody who's a straight shooter. And he goes out there and publicly, even after all this that happened the other night, he came out and he praised. He hasn't criticized the Secret Service. He's been very steadfast on supporting them, and that's very commendable, Larry. So, I mean, Larry, you are like talking in crazy circles tonight. But after you get off that weed or after you get off that strong stuff and you get sober, call us back. Let's go to Norm in Brooklyn on line 3. Norm, boy, that was a doozy. Go ahead.
Hi, Rita. Okay, I saw the Michael Jackson movie the other night, and I thought it was absolutely wonderful. And the crowds were a lot of them were dressed like him, and a lot of people wearing gloves. And,
wait. The audience dressed like him. What is that?
Yeah,
what was the thing
gloves.
where you dressed up years ago? What was the Monty Python or something? Remember that whole thing? The Rocky Horror,
no,
right? Wasn't it Rocky Horror?
It was really cool. It was really cool. But
so wait, Norm, first. How did they dress? Did they have the one glove on? Did they try to do the moonwalk? What were they doing?
A lot of them, some of them had their hair done up, various Michael Jackson stages, some, like dressed like when he was on, the Ed Sullivan Show and all those things, when he was really young, and some, the Thriller period, and some the Off the Wall period. So it was just kind of cool that, and you had, and they were all ages too. I mean, they weren't all, boomers, or they were, like young people. And anyway, there was a lot. Afterwards, I had a conversation I'm very good friends with Armand White, who's the movie critic of the National Review. And afterwards, we spoke, and he said that Michael Jackson was the only person in the history of the media that has been persecuted as much as Donald Trump.
Oh, interesting.
And
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. He very much. And what do they both have in common? And I say that widely popular, beloved in so many ways. And you're right. I mean, absolutely. I mean, the media, so many other people too. And it's sort of, it's a sad testament to the times, don't you think, Norm?
Yes. And just like Donald Trump, they're trying to destroy him now after death. And they tried to destroy this movie, and it has record reviews all over the world.
Well, I have to say, Norm, I'm planning on going to the movie. I've not gone yet. I had the honor, as you guys know, to know Michael. I interviewed Michael and spent time with him and his family. And I love Michael Jackson. I thought he was such an incredible man and an incredible talent. And I can't wait to go to the movie. And I won't dress up, though, Norm. I hope I'm still accepted in, but I will dress. I will at least go at some point, and I can't wait. Norm, thanks so much. Let's go to Benny in Bayside real quick. Line 2. Benny, your thoughts.
Hey, Rita. Did you see how fast this guy sprinted past that first squad?
Yes, you're talking about Cole Allen at the hotel. Yes.
Correct. Okay. He sprinted as fast as he could, okay? Now, when you see guys back up, meaning he has a weapon, meaning those FBI agents, those trained CIA agents, they know exactly how to point a weapon and put that bullet exactly where they need to, up to 40 feet or whatever. That's why they backed up.
But
People
they didn't
say,
get him.
why they back up?
But
Why
Benny,
they run away? They didn't run away.
Benny, they didn't get
Yes,
him,
sir.
though.
Yes,
None of the
ma'am.
bullets hit him.
Because they were incredibly effective, and how they got him alive, that's because they were very trained. They were trained exceptionally well.
By the way, Benny, there are reports that the guy might have tripped. So we don't know that yet, but there are reports that he tripped and then he got tackled at the same time. So
you understand? CIA agents know exactly where to put that bullet.
I do.
And they are trained.
I do. And by the way, I am glad. I'm glad he's alive, Benny.
Never got close.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, Benny. Thank God for that, 100%. I just wish it wasn't so easy that he was even able to get there close to the magnetometer. I think there should have been other security even prior to that. And I wish, I'm glad he's alive so we can hear his motivations and hopefully make sure it never, ever happens again. Maybe he can reveal some security breakdowns that DOJ has missed. And believe me, I love our law enforcement, but I do think there's some lessons to be learned. Benny, thank you. You're terrific. You got to call back again. Everybody, we're going to continue right after the break, but first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from Fountain Hills, Arizona, where a VFW post hosted a centenarian recognition honoring World War II veteran Gene Metcalf, who's 103 years old. He was recognized for his service in the U.S. military. He joined November 1942. He was there till September 1945, and he served as a paratrooper in World War II and spent time as a German prisoner of war. What a powerful story, and thank goodness he is alive to share that story for future generations. And everybody, all it takes is $11 a month to make a huge difference. Simply donate $11 a month to the absolutely incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They are the best. Check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to Tony in Clifton on line 2. Go ahead, Tony, your thoughts tonight.
Rita, listen, it was stunning how President Trump was told after the shooting, the attempted assassination, he was told that he could not go back into the conference room. And, that's what's missing. His chief of staff, Susie Wiles, and she's in charge of the Secret Service, he needs, for this amazing man, this best president, I think, besides George Washington, I always say that, he needs a strong chief of staff, people who can say to him, no, that was not a good choice, Mr. President. You cannot be in an open hotel room where you are like a sitting duck, and that's what's missing. I love my president, and I hope that he gets leaders who can tell him you cannot do that. And
I think Susie Wiles is doing that. And Tony, I think also that night, clearly the Secret Service told him that because they said, no way, no how. You can't get back out there. I mean, they didn't know, is there somebody else in the ballroom who's maybe working with that person? Is there maybe some explosive device that person left behind? I mean, I knew right away there's no way that event could continue, and there's no way the president could be there. Maybe he'll do it again, but I don't think it can be in a hotel. I don't think so, Tony.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Oh, it's
already Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Come out to the ballpark as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Charleston Dirty Birds May 5th through the 10th. Grab the kids and come on out. We kick it off on Tuesday, May 5th with Cinco de Baseball with $5 tickets and $5 food and beverage specials. And we end the week as we celebrate all moms on Mother's Day. Moms get in free. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.